Hello, I'm
MenothJohn.
and I'd like to welcome you. First of all, let me take just a moment to thank you for allowing me back into your homes. If this is your first time with us, let me extend a personal invitation for you to drag out your
miniatures
and paint along with us each week. Let's go over to the canvas here and let's get started. I believe, every day's a good day when you paint. I believe, it'll bring a lot of good thoughts to your heart. I believe, every day's a good day when you paint. I believe, it'll bring a lot of good thoughts to your heart. Let's build a happy little cloud. Let's build some happy little trees. There are no limits here. You start out by believing here. You can almost paint with anything. All you have to do is practice. There are no limits here.
Yes, Brushheads, there are no limits here because it is Sunday night, and that means that it is just all right. Or actually, it might be spectacular where you are. We are in a new year, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to 2015. This is your Sunday Night Addiction. This is the Painting with MenothJohn show. And as usual, as I have been an anchor of your Sunday nights for the last 2 years and counting, I am MenothJohn. And with me, of course, is the dulcet tones, the man that makes it all happen, the guy I couldn't do this show without because then it would be just me and that would be boring and horrible. Mr. John Spencer, say hello to from the co-host with the host, almost forgot that part, to the Brushheads. Say hello, Mr. John Spencer.
Hey, Brushheads, how's it going?
Jesus, I couldn't have walked down a minefield harder on that one. Holy crap. That was embarrassing. This is not as professional as we would expect there. Now I've even got the camera on so people can see us, the two most photogenic men in podcasting.
Absolutely.
You made me watch this goddamn movie this week, and I'm going to tell you what, I'm glad I'm doing this podcast afterwards because it's I need the catharsis, so to speak, after that. It's a fine movie. We're going to get to that later on in segment 3, the movie club. We're talking about Lucky Number Slevin, but we're going to get there. But before we get there, I think we need a beverage update. And, of course, this evening I continue to attempt to murder this bottle of Mount Gay established 17 whatever the hell it is, drinking from the collector's item glass, the Painting with MenothJohn glass. One of the advantages of this Mount Gay rum, John, is that you can actually see the Brushhead logo when I hold it up.
Oh, that's not good, actually, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know that
can't
means
see a darn thing through my crack in here.
That's right. And, you know, the thing is that, much like Roaring Dan's rum, that you can see through this. This is not as bad as Roaring Dan's rum. But Happy New Year to you, John. Hey, Ron.
Ron.
There. I even drank the whole rum. I drank the whole shot this time. And I'll be chasing that with a little bit of
I
Spotted
always
Cow.
take a whole shot.
There we go, a little New
Well, I've
Glarus.
got my standard mix hanging out here.
Nice, nice. And, of course, I'm giving New Glarus is not a sponsor of the show, but I'm going to give them a little bit of a little time here on the YouTubes. There you go. Or the Twitch, or whatever it is these days.
Both, technically.
It will be. It's Twitch now, and then it'll become the YouTubes. And then Amazon owns the Twitch now, so I'm guessing that they probably have put a filter in there now that if someone says YouTube on a Twitch stream, they probably send a drone or something like that because I've heard Amazon's got the drones now.
Oh, drones.
Yes.
Just another reason to own a shotgun.
Indeed. Pull! Anyway.
Exactly.
So here we are, John. You know, last episode, for those of you who've been following along at home, we did a Brushhead gallery, and John, I dare say that it was the best one we've ever done.
I would totally agree.
Yep, I think, you know,
It was sweet.
Yep, the Brushheads really kicked it into overdrive, and we had 20 pages, 20 slides of different. Now there's more pictures than just 20. In most cases, there was anywhere from 2 to 4 pictures, sometimes 6, on the same page. And so, you know, what we kind of learned from that, and some feedback, John, that you had gotten, was that maybe we should move this to a quarterly event rather than pushing it to a monthly. What are your thoughts on that, John?
Oh, I definitely agree. It makes it more special and gives us some time to get the word out there for everyone.
I completely agree with that. So we are going to be doing it at the end of quarters. So we're going to consider the one that we just had to be the fourth quarter, let's say, update, because it just happened at the end of the fourth quarter. And we're going to move into the first quarter here, which means at the end of March, we're going to have another one of these. And so, get your painting in and send us your pictures at PwMenothJohn@gmail.com. If you would, please put in the subject line that you have, you'd put Brushhead Gallery in the subject line, and that will help me find them when we kind of compile them all, and that'll help make sure that I don't goof up and leave anything out. But I think that's a great idea, and to help you with getting things into the Painting with MenothJohn Brushhead Gallery, I think, John, the best thing you can possibly do is join up with things on the internet that you really don't understand.
I think I know where you're going with this.
Yes. So I reached into, someone sent me an invite to a Facebook page called Paint a Point a Day. And basically the concept here is, it's not very complicated. I mean, is try to achieve painting at least a single point of, on average, of warm hordes every day. So let's say you've got a 6 point or a 5. I don't even know what these things are. You've got an impaler, let's say, one of many I understand that I have. And you've got an impaler. I think he's 6 points. This would count for 6 days worth of painting, of course. So you paint that up and keep track of it. I've got a sticky up on the Painting with MenothJohn Facebook page where I'm going to track mine. But I would love for the other Brushheads to, this is not some big thing that you've got to like, oh my God, I'm gonna write my name in blood on some paper over here and I'm gonna sign it, and but this is another way, much like the podcast is. It's another way to kind of encourage us all to kind of keep in that mode of painting on a regular basis. And when you paint on a regular basis, I'll tell you, John, the one thing that this show has taught me is that if I paint on a regular basis, I become a better painter. And I think that would go to the Brushheads as well.
Absolutely.
So I think that, John, if you can find that group, I don't know if you can find it or not. I'll try to find it. I mean, I belong to it, so I should be able to find it.
So far, so bad, but
no problem.
I'll keep looking.
No problem. I'll try to find a link for it, and we'll put it up on the Facebook page for Painting with MenothJohn. Oh. And I'm going to do it, and I'm at 16 points at the time of this particular podcast. So that puts me at this is January 16th already for me. Yay! I'm like in the future.
And it's called 1 point per day painted 2015. So just put in 1 point per day painted, and it'll bring it up there on Facebook for you.
Super sweet. So you can, I would encourage you to like that page and join in the fun. There are some rules on there. Whatever. I mean, I guess the only rule you really need to know about is that Warcasters count as 5. So, which is
that's good.
Totally legit and totally normal and all that kind of good stuff. I have also another thing that we're going to track over the course of the year, John, and I didn't share this with you in the pre-ramble.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, this is exciting. John, you will see there is a small ball of green stuff in my hand. This ball of green stuff will continue to grow with every bit of wasted green stuff that I have over the course of the year. So every time that I put together some green stuff to put a model together or what have you, I'm going to add to this green stuff. This is all the green stuff that I have wasted so far in 2015. And it's about 2 centimeters, I would say, so far. I'm using metrics, so
wow.
I'm kind of feeling a little European right now by saying centimeters. Isn't that amazing?
Indeed.
I need some acknowledgement here, John, of how international and accepting I'm being by using the metric system right now. So,
I think you're being crazy. I can't tell centimeters and millimeters easily. I know inches.
It could be 2. It could be 400 centimeters. It's that metric shit that we don't care about. So
It looks like about an inch, so you know.
well, it's not it's probably half an inch, John. To be very honest with you, here, let me hold it down here by where you can't see. Oh, yep, half inch measures perfectly to a half inch.
Yeah.
So it turns out that God gave me a natural ruler, and there you go. So there you go. So I've got that green
And by
stuff.
natural ruler, you mean that little cutting board on your desk, right?
Exactly. So there you go. We have the green stuff ball. We're not going to give it a name yet, but we're just going to say it's the waste. It's it's my effort on green or something like that. I'm trying to be green about it. So here you go. So I'm going to keep that tracking as well. So that's what we're going to do this year. We're going to have that point a day thing, and then I'm going to update the brush heads on my ball of green stuff. So there you go. Now, John,
I'll see if I can join you in that, but I'm at 0 right now because I put the rest of it in bases to cover up holes in the slot.
see, I do that too. And I think that's a pro tip, by the way. This is going out to the brush heads right now. This is a pro tip. I want you all to get out your pads and papers that came with your membership materials, okay? We have these. We sent that out with the membership materials and for the brush head status, and open it up to page 14. And on there, you'll see a section called Pro Tips. And Pro Tips is using green stuff in the slot. So go ahead and put a little green stuff in your slot if you need something to patch it up. If your slot is not where it needs to be, if you need to have it plugged up, try a little green stuff. So that's a pro tip. Page 14 or 17, one of the two. I can't remember. That's your responsibility, Brushheads,
Depends on
not
which
mine.
edition.
Exactly. It could be the 4th edition or the 15th edition. One of those two has the different one. And try it out. Because if you'll notice here, I'm going to hold this up to the camera. You'll notice that, holding shit up to the camera is a pain in the ass. So if you'll notice here, I've got some green stuff in my slot. And it turns out that putting some stuff in my slot is always beneficial for the podcast. So notice my slot, and it has green stuff. So there you go. John, you had a pro tip also for the brush heads regarding a certain seam scraper that Mr. Joe Sepulveda had shared with us.
Yeah, he shared it. I'm not sure if I have a pro tip. I haven't tried it out yet, but I'm going to order one. It looks pretty good, and Epic Brushhead Edifo says it's good stuff and can work on our types of plastics as well as the GW style. So pop onto our Facebook page and take a look there. He shared that with us, a link where to purchase it. It's not too expensive. It's cheaper than the one that the GW makes, though that one's apparently pretty okay too. But when in doubt, go for the non-GW and cheaper.
Absolutely. Also, I wanted to highlight the fact that Sassy Greyjoy had mentioned that she's used fake snow for her slot. And
I was trying to skip by that one entirely.
If they're gonna put it in the chat room, it's gonna go up on the podcast. I can't help it. So no, the seam scraper looks absolutely legit. I want to thank Joe Sepulveda, who is a friend of the show and an amazing guy. One of the real highlights of my trip out to Kingdom Con was meeting Joe, and let me tell you, that guy is a gentleman. And he is also a wonderful painter, and he does some beautiful commission work. So he plays cricks, which I won't hold against him, and his cricks were absolutely beautiful. So I want to thank Joe and Edifo, Ultra Mega Double Epic Edifo Brushhead guy, for giving us the lowdown on the seam scraper. And I've got a couple seams I'd like to have scraped. And I think that I will probably purchase one of these, and especially for those hard-to-reach places, I'm going to use one of these seam scrapers, and I will report back to the brush heads on how my seam is doing. That's dead air, folks.
So that's a thing.
That's dead air. So there you go. So I've got a lot to paint actually today. We're going to get on to the actual, hey, this is a painting show part of the show, and we're going to talk a little bit about. First off, let's flip over here to the paint cam. Oh hell, John, I almost forgot. Our spokesmodel is in the wings here, and I almost forgot about her. I almost forgot about her. and she's very special. It's a she, by the way, just so you know. It's a very special. We have you may know her from recording various recording albums, or the kids use these MP3s these days. They have all of the specific data that they put through their iPods and their MP3 players. Ladies and gentlemen, we have with us J-Lo. Yes, J-Lo is with us here tonight for our sponsors, the amazing Discount Games and Greenleaf Terrain. Ladies and gentlemen, J-Lo.
Hi, I'm J-Lo. You can tell I'm J-Lo because I have it written J-Lo right here on my shoulder pads. And I'm here to tell you that when you need to have someone down on the block, because I'm just Jenny from the block, you know me. I ain't nothing but sweetness and love here. And look at this junk on the trunk. Look at this. Oh, yeah. I'm going to twerk a little bit for you now. Boop, 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 boop. Right there. Yes. Oh, my voice got a little dark, a little deep there for a second. And I'm here to tell you that when you need some special junk for your collection, I suggest Discount Games Incorporated. Or if you need some junk in your table, I don't even know what that means, I suggest Greenleaf Terrain. Greenleaf Terrain makes the most boss-ass terrain. Oop, I'm sorry, I swore on the podcast. I hope that's not a problem. The most amazing terrain if you need some fabulousness for your block, because that's the only song I know about her. And I would recommend Discount Games Incorporated to get that junk. And when you need the terrain, you go to Greenleaf Terrain. So I'm just J-Lo, your spokesmodel for tonight, here on the Painting with MenothJohn show. And I want to thank MenothJohn for inviting me on the show. And I'll see you backstage later, MenothJohn. So I'm going to leave you with this, a little more twerking. There you go. And y'all have a good show. I'm J-Lo. Good night.
Thank you very much, J-Lo, for being a part of the show tonight. I don't know what to say about that. I'm in a relationship, and J-Lo, while I appreciate all that, I will not be meeting you backstage after this, as that would be inappropriate at best. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Discount Games Incorporated, free shipping at the discountgamesincorporated.com if you order 50 points of twerkin' Warjack love, or if you or War Beasts or what have you. And if you want some great terrain from Canada, they sell metric terrain at Greenleaf Terrain. So there you have it. Some words from our sponsor. John, save me from this. I am going to move over to the painting cam now, and we are going to have some painting with MenothJohn. You had a game this week. There you go.
Oh, God. I don't know if I can save you from this, but I'll do my best. Yeah, Friday night, everyone ducked me except for Bowie. So we played. He broke out some Bradigus, Tier 4.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone says Mosar is the answer, and I have Mosar. And heck, I was challenged to play Mosar, so I broke out some Mosar.
Excellent.
I'm not going to go too much into details, but let's just say from the get-go, I deployed incorrectly. Instead of trying to play my game, I tried to play his, or deny his, which is not the right way to do it. I played like a bit of a herpaderp occasionally. Saw some things my list needed to change, and he played his list very well. He made one minor mistake. I was able to get a good bit of work out of and almost kill a World Watcher who couldn't go in stone form. Left him so low, and I was rolling so good for Sunhammer, he couldn't move into my control area without fear of dying.
Wow, that's pretty good.
So that's a thing. Yeah, so we talked it afterwards. He won. He actually, we shook before it was over, but he had a Wold Warden right near Mosar, and I didn't have any transfers left. It was going to be over.
Yep, that's fair.
Even with only one Fury available, he had plenty of time to build up all of his synergy and just kill me, and I only had a handful of life left because apparently, pro tip, Sentry Stones can take Fury from your caster as well.
Oh, shut the hell up. Really?
Yeah. So when they take one Fury from within command range, it will be your caster. So that left me with one fewer transfer than I wanted. So at that point, when he bossed some rolls with the Mantikin, because he's POW 11 in melee, it's actually not bad when you're an armor 14 caster.
Turns out. Yeah,
so I'll just throw some takeaways from that game is we feel Mosar might actually be the answer. Not the way I played it.
That'll happen.
And maybe not my list, but we feel like my list might actually give at least a solid chance of beating him. Because you can, we decided you can probably just send the infantry up first, let him chew on that a bit, and then feet on a turn where he's extended to try and kill a bunch.
Mm-hmm.
So that way, next turn he can't get all of his Wold Watchers in the stone form, and he kills as much as you can that turn and go from there. So there's a lot of good takeaways from that game. He plays it well. He's been playing it for a while. And pro tip from him, he saw it from someone else, but he took it and used it for himself. He painted the rims, the base rims of each of his shifting stone units a different color, and it makes all the difference in the world for both of us. He can tell where his triangles are easily. I can tell where his triangles are easily. Boy, I really suggest it. And I know some people are like, well, you're giving away extra information, but yeah, but you're getting it at a glance. And you're no longer having to go, which one is that? Because when you start looking, you go, oh yeah, which one's that? And now you're wasting extra time because you're telling your opponent.
Yeah, frankly, that level of
easy way for both of you to tell. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was just going to say that level of metagaming is not painting with MenothJohn approved. If you're painting all your crap the same color, that is not game. That's not the way you want to win a game. So, go ahead, John. Finish your statement.
Especially doubly so for something like the stones, where it's really easy. Where it's really easy for them to look the same. I mean, stones. There's only so many ways to paint stones.
Yep.
So that was super cool. And he plays it a lot, and people are going off the chain about Bradigus. Oh, is he crazy good? Is he broken? He's not broken. He's really good. And just get out there and play him. You're going to lose a couple games to him. Don't worry about it. Lose a couple games. Learn what he does, and think about what you can do to fight him better.
I think that Privateer is actually in a really strong development cycle right now. They're putting out stuff that is inherently strong and great and stuff you want to play, but it is not broken. And that is such an amazing knife edge to walk, and they're doing a great job on it.
Yeah. The only possible problem I have with Bradigus is the standard that he's not going to be taken out of tier ever, and that's a mistake.
Yeah.
But, that's their mistake to make, and they can look at it and fix it. We just get to deal with it on the other end. Just play some games against him and learn your stuff. So he got the victory there, but, still doing pretty good. And I didn't blame my dice because my dice rolled at least average. They just didn't, as we say, help me win the game. They would roll average overall, but I rolled huge damage for Sunhammer and some good hit rolls, but then my damage was occasionally crappy. You missed some key rolls. That's another quick tip I want to give out. Don't rage at your dice. Take a look at them and see what you're getting from them. Because you just look at, oh, I missed that attack. Oh, I did bad damage. Well, sometimes you roll huge to hit and then you roll low damage. That's still average.
Yeah.
You can't just take it as a whole. You got to take the whole dice together. And I noticed quickly that, the first turn I did like 14 damage with Sunhammer or something stupid.
Holy crap.
That's crazy good. Yeah, it was a lot. And then second turn I did a ton. So I feel like if you can build a list that can, with Mosar at least, that can hold off for a bit, you got a chance. Because it's only 2-3 damage at a time, but that's 2 or 3 damage at a time. Don't care that you're armor 21, 22, 300. You're taking 2-3 damage at a time.
Cool. I think that's really great advice, man.
Yeah. So you got a game in with your new favorite Berica.
Oh my God, do I love Berica. Berica and I are buddies. I would play this guy. So I played 2 lists, and we talked about, during the pre-ramble, we talked about me talking about only one of my games. I can talk about the other one real quickly, because I've been talking about the 7 Impaler list of mine, like nonstop and stuff like that, because I've got 7 Impalers, and oh, by the way, hey, look, here's 2 of them. So 5 of them are done, and these are getting pretty close. I played that list against Epsilonia 2, which I didn't think was going to be too bad of a matchup, given the fact that it's a very beast-heavy list. Thought to be a limited number of targets would be kind of the way to go with that type of a list. Yeah, that list is more cute than good, by the way. Even with three dice and stuff like that, you're still not rolling the crits at nearly the frequency that you need to in order to make that list make sense. And the Impalers, God bless them, even at POW 14, they're having a tough time. Once combat once things get engaged, that spell no longer works for them. The guided fire is no longer in effect. They just can't put out enough damage on a regular basis. And my opponent, Randy Culp, who is Brian Culp's father, who is a guy that is in the chat room on a regular basis. He's a brushhead. He did a great job. He bunched them up, and he really kind of made it so he also had rakes in the list. So rakes were jumping around. They're stealth. My list just hates stealth. So there's just no mitigation for stealth at all. And he did a great job. And I shut it down like before it got too ugly where I actually died. But I said, okay, let's re-rack this thing. And now I'm going to play Berica, which is my other list. And let me tell you guys, Absalonia 2, put a little Berica in your list. Put a little Berica for that Absalonia 2. Because what she doesn't like is she doesn't like taking away her Alpha Strike. And if you're in a position where you can position Berica in his battle group and his Freezy unit in such a spot that he doesn't dare Alpha Strike you, that makes makes Absalonia 2 real damn sad. So I was able to my list right now with Berica is 4 Axers, a Troll Moses. He's got a Mauler in there, so he's got the Rage Adamant, so he gets the +3 damage, because while the Axer is plenty strong on his own, it's always nice to have a little bit of extra strength when you need it, and especially when you're looking at a lot of spiny growth and things being spammed out to where you may lose your spirit or something like that. It's a pretty legit list, and having the counter charges. What I'm learning about Berica is, while I think the counter charges are cute, I don't think that they're necessarily, at least in the lists that I would drop Berica against, it seems as though I'm not getting enough work out of the counter charges and I end up handing people my beasts as a result of it. So I'm going to keep on playing with it a little bit and see if I continue to think that 4 Axers is the way to go. I think that there's some, if I'm playing a list counter this one that doesn't have Mulg in it, let's say we have a Madrak 2 list, I think that where you won't necessarily have Mulg, I think that putting Mulg in with Berica might be a good way to go, because having that crit smite available to you might be very helpful. So I'm really enjoying Berica. I think he's a super, super, super fun warlock to play. He's only got the 5 Fury, but the way I won this game was I had my Creel warriors who are in the list kind of gum everything up and get in the way, and then my beasts kind of just got in there and kept all of his stuff from getting to me, and I just parked old Berica right over there on the flag and just started scoring, and he seems to do pretty well in scenario because he's a lot of work to take off the table all by himself. And I just ran stuff in front of his army, let him kill him, and it turns out that if you don't kill his stuff fast enough, he just wins the game on scenario. So, and if worse comes to worse, he's got the skills to pay the bills to get in there and mix it up a little bit on his own. So, ride-by attacks are indeed a thing.
And he's got a pretty big mat to take advantage of him.
Yep, mat 8 is a good thing. So I'm loving Berica, guys. If you're a troll player and you don't have Berica yet, first off, he's an absolutely gorgeous as heck model, and you will enjoy the living daylights out of painting that guy. Secondly, he's a baller. He doesn't look like that as much on paper as he does in real life, but boy, is he good times in real life. So, John, you had a second game.
I did. I played El Marshal with, he was playing Score and Makeda won. And I played Mosar again. Figure that's the challenge. Might as well get some more games in with him.
Yep.
He had a Mammoth, a Kriya, and Red Rocket, along with a unit of Annihilators and a unit of Satrati, and then some support in the backfield.
For our new listeners, Red Rocket is
the Cyclops Raider.
there. You go.
It took me a minute to remember his name. Nicknames come easy.
There you go. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
We ended up with one of the scenarios with the artillery objective, so it wasn't really important.
Yep.
But it had 2 square zones, one friendly, one enemy, and pretty early, I have my guys going in, taking some pot shots with Nis, putting the Skinwalkers in his face, and after a good round trying to kill all his Annihilators on Makeda's feet turn and having a fair chance at it, because, Crevasse removes from play, so even if I fail, it's still pretty good work. He kills both of my arc nodes, and I'm sitting in the backfield. It's not kill box, and I'm like, well, crap, now I have to move a lot forward and become in danger, or, oh, heck, I'll just camp this 7, upkeep Mirage, and run over into the zone and start to win the game. And that's pretty much what happened. Since he took away my way of getting in the game instead of even trying, I just continue to jam. I mean, my Skinwalkers were jamming like bosses.
Because that's what they do.
They'd Mirage out, charge back in. Sometimes switching up, charging other models, whatever. He finally had to do a Mammoth run into the zone to not lose in the game, and then I Curse the Shadows did, and Getorix took it off the table.
Wow, one rounded it, huh?
Scenario. Well, he had taken I did what he really liked, a really canny move where I charged my Stalker next to it to kill the objective for an extra point, leaving it in my melee range so he couldn't aim. Makes him a lot harder to hit me. And to come in the zone, he couldn't. There was a tower nearby. He couldn't get me too far away from him. So he had to take a free strike, and I bossed the roll for, 13 points of damage to his mind. Hey, guess what? His mind's only about 13 big.
Boom.
And that pretty much took his assassin. I mean, it wasn't a good assassination chance. He would have had to really roll some crazy rolls. But it took it completely off the table because he couldn't even try for the 2 dice hit.
John,
he had to boost everyone.
One of the things I've heard about the new 2015, and I'm hoping that when that thing lands, that I'm not out of the frickin' country, because I would like to do the same thing that we did last year, where the second that it drops, you, me, and Edfo get on the blower and have a special. Hopefully it won't come down between now and the 17th of January, but I'm afraid it will. But what I've heard about 2015, and I've played a little bit of it, is that the scenario that has the artillery thing in it for the light artillery is something that you actually declare that particular objective type during list creation so that it becomes a ton more relevant.
Yeah. I've heard that. We've been actually doing some playtesting because we've got Bowie, who's a press ganger, and we've been playing some here or there. He wasn't there at that point, so we just jumped in, or he was doing something else. I think he was actually present, but we just played an old scenario.
Cool.
So yeah, that'd be cool. I'm kind of interested in it. I'm not sure it's going to be great. It might be too much, but we'll see.
Yep. I'm a little worried about 2015. I'm a little worried about 2015, to be honest with you. The whole name your scenario thing seems like it could be abused terribly, but we'll see how it works out. I mean, I trust Hacksaw. I trust Hungerford. I don't know how much interaction Hacksaw has with it anymore, but hopefully he's got a little, because I trust that guy.
Absolutely. So there we go. There was my 2 games with Mosar, 1-1, which puts me at 6-2 with Mosar or something like that.
Very nice. Very nice.
It was pretty good.
8 Fury. It's a thing.
9 if you need to take one from somebody.
Nice.
Because he's got maltreatment, so he can go to 9.
Very, very super sweet. I'm kind of happy with, like, once you paint the skin on these Warders, there's not a whole lot left.
Yeah, there's only a couple parts on them, a couple prominent bits.
So I'm looking forward to being able to get these guys done. My goal is to get these guys done before I leave for Amsterdam, which is on Saturday. I'm going for work. And Nick and I, or Sasakdavir in the old chat room, are bantying about possibly getting together. As far as I can, I'm your typical ugly American when it comes to geography. I'm like going to Amsterdam, so obviously that's like just down the block from him, right? I mean, Amsterdam's like what, at least 4 blocks wide or something like that. And so I
have no idea.
Nor do I. So, but he's talking about coming up, which would be super amazing, and hopefully I can take some pictures of me and good old Neek getting it together and meeting each other in Amsterdam next week. Or not next week, the week after.
That would be super cool.
Week after. So, anyhow, so I think that I should put this Warder down right now. Half his face is painted, so he looks a little bit like Mel Gibson in Braveheart. And I'm gonna get a little. of the old Mount Gay rum here to usher us into the second segment of the day. A little segment we like to call FlippityBloop.
All right. Well, the first one is from one late last week after the podcast ended from some little-known guy named Will Pagani.
Oh, that guy.
And he asks, what is art?
What is art? I'm going to be honest with you. Will has this was something that grew out of TempleCon, and I'm pretty convinced that the only people who know what art truly is are Will Pagani and Adrian Finot. Adrian works for Valve Software, so he's doing all the Dotas and things like that. But what is art? I'm pretty convinced what I do is not art. So this paint by numbers shit I got going on here with these Warders and whatnot, that's not art. But I think one thing that art could be is Art Bell from the old Coast to Coast AM broadcast. But he probably, well, I'm not going to get into this. I'm not going to say things that are going to cause me to have a lawsuit. So there you go. What is art?
Avoid lawsuits. That's a good call.
Art Bell from the Coast to Coast AM. That's art. What do you feel art is?
I'm just going to go with a single word. Subjective.
There you go. Nice. Very good. Very good. That's safe.
Art is subjective.
We like the fact that we're not going to end up in jail for that one. So, excellent. No fines.
All right. Next one. Yeah. Let's skip those.
No fines.
Next
2015.
one from Patrick Burdine.
Love that guy.
It's is the real reason we never see Legion ever play infantry is because it's basically all like building this Hunters.
Ooh, that's an interesting perspective, and one that I would expect from someone of his caliber. Patrick, by the way, in case you don't know who he is, he's a published author. You should run out and look for him on the Amazons. For the Monitor was is one of his short stories that I've read. Spooky and creepy, both at the same time. But it's entirely possible that people shy away from the blighted this, blighted that because they don't feel like wanting to rip their eyeballs out trying to put them together. Nis Hunters, as far as I'm concerned, are they're a bit of a badge of honor. If you have a fully painted, fully assembled set of Nis Hunters that you've done yourself, then you should give yourself plus 14 golden MenothJohn reward points. Enter those in on page 432 of the membership guide, and send that form, you know which one it is, it's the one on that page, in triplicate to the headquarters facility that's in, the address is in the instructions as well, to collect your reward. So there you go. It's a thing. And Nis Hunters are fabulous on the table, but boy, they are the closest thing to not being worth putting together. Let me tell you what.
So, funny story, our local Legion player, not Brushhead Dave, is playing Kador for the Journeyman, and he's working on a Blood One list, and he asked me, he's like, should I do Winter Guard Rifle Corps or Nis Hunters? I'm like, Nis Hunters. He's like, well, I haven't punched myself in the dick in a while. I'm like, well, then Nis Hunters are right for you.
Boom. Exactly. Yeah, there's
exactly.
They are as bad as people say they are. They just really are. They're 7 or 8 pieces for each one. So there's, man, I think that
few.
I think that they probably literally. I've counted. There's 7 or 8 pieces in each one, and you need to.
Well, you could be like Bowie, and Bowie cheated and just bits ordered all the bow using ones and Selenia and put that together. I thought that was particularly a good thought on his part.
Yeah, weak sauce. I'm not MenothJohn approved. That will not get you the reward points. It has to be the standard. While I appreciate that, you might as well be putting blighted archers together. So take that,
But
Signar
to answer the
player.
question, I thought we didn't see infantry because it's all unplayable trash.
Oh, snap. Ladies and gentlemen,
No,
Scott
no,
Ray.
that's a shout out to.
No, that's
Jeremy
Jeremy. That's
from
Jeremy.
Cripple System.
Yeah, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Wow. 2 people have now been insulted.
Oh.
By that one mistake, 2 people were insulted.
Well, we try to get a broad spectrum.
Yeah.
Get it all at once.
But I have to, Jeremy's so good to us. He actually likes our show and says nice things about us. So, hats off to Jeremy, the official mascot of Painting with MenothJohn. It's kind of like Rudy, He's kind of like that special kid that never gets into the game.
Oh my God.
So, hats off to you, Jeremy, and to your very lovely wife.
Oh God, Bonzi's confused. He went away on vacation to Hawaii, bastard, and he wants to know where the blue glove is.
Oh, God damn it! All right, sorry. I can't. It's probably. Well, I haven't done really officially hardcore blue glove painting right now, but here it comes, ladies and gentlemen, the blue glove. You'll notice that it has a lot of Darishi violet on it, because if you were listening to the pre-ramble, I may have dumped the better part of a pot of Darishi violet on the floor here at Casa John. So here it is, the blue glove. For those of you listening on the audio podcast, there it is. There's the sound of the blue glove. Usually the blue glove comes on once I have started to do the washes that make up the skin tones, and the T1000 warders are not at that point yet. So we're just trying to not F up the paint on the silver, because that was airbrushed, and nobody wants to recreate that. So anyhow, so there's the blue glove, Bonzi, just for you, baby. Bonzi, you need to come to a con so you and I can hang out. That's all I got to say.
Or he needs to be in the area next time you make it to the Maryland area.
Yeah, that could happen. I mean, I don't know. I don't have anything really happening at the York plant right now, but that could happen. You never know.
I could sabotage it. I mean, I'm not saying I would ever do anything like that, but
I have a sneaky suspicion that if I don't quit my job, that I'm going to get drawn back in on a particular project that has more lives than your average kitty cat. But oh, by the way, big news here at Painting with MenothJohn Central. I am now in possession of 2 kitty cats.
Oh.
Belinda Librarian has moved her kitty cats into the Casa John, so they are acclimating to the Bassa dog. So they are not in the same area just yet, but they're acclimating well. They are lovely little kitties, and one is named Bianca, and the other one's name is Ginny. And I refer to Ginny as Kersplats because she's got a lot of personality. She's a big-boned cat. We'll just say that.
Fair enough. And there you go. That puts a bullet in the potential co-host. John goes up and stays at MenothJohn Casa to play some Brushmachine and stuff because I am super allergic to cats.
Super allergic to cats.
It's okay.
Damn it.
It's okay.
But if you come to Adepticon, Dad, you can't stay here. Damn it. Maybe they'll be gone because Belinda's trying to buy a house. So if Belinda, oops, shit, there goes the paintbrush down in my pants. If Belinda gets her house, then maybe they'll be gone by then. So there you go.
That's all good.
It's
like
not a permanent thing.
Who knows what's going to go on in that time? Things are still up in the air.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
All right.
We'd love to have you though.
Next one, David Pierce. Have you ever thought about an airbrush?
Have I ever thought about one? Not only have I thought about one, I own one. I was just thinking about this, John, this weekend as I was. I'm going to put this out on the painting cam. This is my this is the beginnings of my swamp troll, and it may be hard to see on the camera, but it's actually two different colors. I did the base coat and the highlight with my airbrush. So I did a base coat of a darker green, and then I came back with a lighter green to catch the highlights on his tummy and on his cheeks and towards the top of his fists and things like that. Guys, you know, it's an investment. It is, but it is a wonderful investment. I have a Badger Chrome Renegade that I love to death, and it has all of these T1000s were airbrush base coated. That's why they're like totally effing silver. And I absolutely love mine and would never go back. They put down a base coat probably easier and faster than any other way you can possibly do it. It gives you a very smooth look to it, and you know, you can set yourself up. The airbrush is probably the most expensive piece itself. It's probably for a Renegade. If you make your way to Adepticon, Badger Airbrush, which is based in Chicago, has some pretty darn good deals during Adepticon. So if you get out there, I would highly recommend it. I bought my compressor at Hobby Lobby because of the 25 or 20% off coupons that they always have and stuff like that online. And while Hobby Lobby is not my favorite place in the whole wide world for political and social reasons, they do have some damn good prices. And sometimes it's the only place you can get things. So I would highly recommend an airbrush. What, John, have you messed around with an airbrush at all?
Not at all. I've been thinking about it, but I've got a bird, and the hobby space is near the bird, and that seems like a bad combination. So it's off the table right now.
Yeah, I think the bird might get a little excited by the noise that it makes. But
yeah, plus I don't want it around. You know, we try to be safe. We don't want anything bad for the bird. So
I get that.
Maybe in the future we'll see. We want to move out of here, and even if we don't, maybe I'll set up something in my room eventually. But again, in the future.
Yep. I'm very blessed here at Casa John. I have a workroom that I can kind of close off, and I actually, you know, the cleaning process and stuff like that, I use Windex to clean it out and things like that, and I do spray the Windex out of the airbrush, and I just kind of jettison it into the rest of the room because it's got a cement floor, and who gives a damn?
Fair enough.
So it's easy for me to make a mess in there because it's a workshop. If you do not have access to that, it becomes prohibitive. So if you don't have like a special area that you dedicate to doing dirty, messy, horrible things, then probably an airbrush is not the greatest answer. You can certainly set up a booth with some ventilation and things like that, but that gets pricey really, really fast.
Yeah.
So I think the results they give you are unique and amazing. And really, for my objects, I didn't post pictures of my latest Pyre Troll that I did with OSL on the on his back and stuff like that. I did like a glow on his back for fire like welling up inside of him, and I did that all with an airbrush. And it looks. I'll put some pictures up of him, but that's really the only way you can pull that easily off, short of 2-brush blending, which is not easy. That is an advanced technique that I'm frankly not terribly good at. But airbrush, I can fake her freaking easy with it. So I probably should do maybe, John, we should do an episode again like we did once upon a time where I actually hook up the whole rig over in the workshop and do airbrushing. I can hook up the old Apple, and we can kind of do it that way. It may be kind of horseshit, but we'll give her the best shot we can. And
yeah, fair enough.
And I can do a little bit of airbrushing and kind of show how I clean my airbrush and stuff like that. You know, put that down on the list of things we ought to do someday, kind of thing. There you go. So I'm gonna have a little rum and FlippityBloop.
All right, well, I'm going to get to this because he'd feel left out if I didn't get to him at least once. Bonzi asks, what do you most want to see from Privateer Press or the Warmachine and Hordes community in 2015?
Well, I think we talked a little bit about this last time. The most important thing that I want to see from the Warmachine and Hordes community in the next year is good humor, fun, acceptance, and really just enjoying the game for the love of playing. That's what I want to see out of the Warmachine and Hordes community over the next year. I think that this year has been kind of a difficult year for Warmachine and Hordes. It really has. There's been more controversy and more challenges, I think, as the game has grown and frankly, as the podcasting community has grown. We've become very competitive and not always to the best of the game. I think that this is still a wonderful community and one that I'm very proud of being a part of. And but I think that I'd like to see more folks just getting out there and having a good old time. And that's what we're going to always stand for here on Painting with MenothJohn, is getting out there and just having a good time, putting those models on the table and having fun with them. And, I got beat today by an 8-year-old. And that's okay, because 8-year-old had fun. And I had fun. And so as long as we're all having fun, then that's what it all matters. So that's what I would like to see probably the most. Now, I doubt that is necessarily the spirit of the question that was asked. I think maybe it was asking for more along the lines of kind of from a model standpoint or that. And I think we may have mentioned this on the last show of this briefly. For some reason, my ancient old mind, I kind of remember this question. But I would like to see them say that at the TempleCon State of the Union address that they always have, I would like to see them announce that that Mark II Remix is on its way, and that they're going to go back and catch up the errata, because we haven't seen an errata in a really long time. And I would like to see them say we're going to catch that up. We're going to repoint value some things like mechanothralls or whatever, and we're going to eliminate Crix as a faction and things like that. So that's what I would like to see. I would like to see Mark II Remix announced as heading our way in 2015. John, what do you think?
I want to see the minions get new heavy war beasts that are cool.
Oh my God, that would be amazing.
Every time I look at them, I'm like, yeah, just their war beasts aren't. The Roadhog's kind of cool, and the Wrestler's kind of cool, but the rest of their war beasts are just kind of meh.
Yep, I agree completely with that.
That's what I'd like to see.
Cool. I think that's really, really good. So I've been kind of looking at the at the chat room here to see if anybody else had anything that they may have mentioned here, and yeah, I don't see anything. So that's we'll call that one good. So, John, what do we got? FlippityBloop.
His part 2 is Haley and Denny get into a mud wrestling match. Who wins?
Everybody.
Oh, I agreed with you until I thought really hard and realized Denny's undead. That may not be so fresh anymore.
Oh, she's always fresh.
Fair enough.
She's always fresh. I am selling my Crix, by the way. Most of it's gone.
Yeah.
Most of it's gone.
Oh, wow.
Randy Culp bought like almost all of it, and then what he didn't buy, Zach from Brushmachine bought most of the rest of it. I still have a few pieces left. I've got like the Witch Coven and Terminus, and I've got some various and sundry things that I'm probably going to put up on the Brushhead page. So if any of you guys who are listening to my voice right now want some Crix, I probably got some to sell. I'm just getting out. I still got Iacos for sale and things like that.
Have you talked to Brett Painter?
I have not talked to Brett Painter. Is he in the Crix my mode these days?
He borrowed some to play in. He borrowed some to play in the one of the tournaments we did, our big tournament at the end of the year, and has been thinking about it. I think you mentioned something on your thread, but I think it got buried really quick.
Oh darn! I should get a hold of him because I've already sold the one he painted for me.
Don't.
Yeah, I had to because and Brett, if you're hearing this, I apologize, and I will paint something for you. So, but basically, Ashton Holbrook, who's been on the show, wanted a Crix battle box. And for that, he agreed to paint my Maximus. So that seems like a fair trade where I'm from. Ashton is amazing, and I said, did you want a studio? And I said, I want Ashton to indulge Ashton, and because my minions and my mercs do not have a set color scheme, so to speak, because they're mercs and minions and things like that. So hopefully he's going to go crazy, go nuts, and I think that turning an artist like him loose is probably the best way to ask for a commission. So, but yeah, Brett, if you're hearing my voice, PM me. I got a few things left. I'd be more than happy to. I'd actually be more than happy to give you some stuff. To be honest, you've been such a good friend and things like that. Other than that time that you let Scott Ray carry my protectorate back from the play area after I told you not to let him do that, and he dumped one of my choir boys on the floor. So, other than that, you've been a great friend.
Grudge at all.
Nope, not even remotely. I'll still give you the models just to show you I'm a better person than you are. So there you go. FlippityBloop.
All right. Well, Mr. Barron 101 asks, what is the best video game?
God, I like Borderlands 2.
I do too.
Borderlands 2, I think, might be the best video game ever made. I have rarely found a video game that, after I played through the entire storyline, I went, you know what? I want to play that video game again because that storyline was great, and I want to do it differently this time and experience more of the game. Borderlands 2 is amazing. A close second is a little game called Bastion, and Bastion is an iOS game that is also available on Steam now, I think. It was an indie title, and it is the story about this guy that wakes up and his world has kind of been destroyed, and he's revealing the story. He runs into this guy, and it kind of reveals the whole story behind how his world was destroyed. And you're presented certain decisions that are very key to the story throughout the course of the actual game, and I've played it through 5 times.
Oh, wow.
But it's short, so it's not a huge deal. So anyway, what are your thoughts, John?
Well, if we're going for close seconds, because right now I would probably say Borderlands, since I just got through in regular mode and got through Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keep.
Best DLC ever.
I would go with Burnout Revenge. A game
like
so
that game.
good. I bought it for PlayStation 2 and then bought it for my Xbox 360.
Is that available on PS3?
I don't know. God, that'd be great if it was.
Oh my God.
Like after that, their games just went downhill. Like their next Burnout game was not as good, but I love that game.
Burnout Revenge is so damn good. Love that game. The destruction mode and stuff like that is just perfectly executed.
Yep, it's super cool, and that's a game we used to play as sort of like a party game. We'd get the crash mode.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm talking about. Yep.
So much fun. So much fun.
Yep. I would love to, I had Burnout Revenge. I gotta find out where that game is because I don't own it anymore. I can promise you that. But I would love to play that with the boys. Oh my God, they would love it.
Yeah, I still own 2 copies. Not that I use either of my 2 consoles anymore, but I still own them both.
Describe crash mode for those of you who don't know what it is.
Oh. Well, basically, they take one of the boards, part of one of the boards from the overall racing game, and they give you a target of number of much money you need to destroy, and you drive your car, correct some stuff, and launch your car as a projectile to destroy things. And then as things get destroyed, you get a crash breaker, which explodes your car, destroying more stuff. And if you're lucky and you can have your car ram into certain areas, you'll get more points building up again. Maybe a car got flung into traffic somewhere else. And then you'll explode again, and you can do some very, very super fun things.
Yep.
And they have challenge. You have to get X money to win the stage. And it's just a good combination of everything, you know. None of them are crazy tough. Like, you might have a problem once in a while, but they all have a solution. You're all like, oh, God, that's how you get the most points. And then occasionally you try something else and find more points. It's just super fun. It's
like find the bus, get the truck, oh, my God. So my son loves Burnout Paradise.
Get the intersections.
Mm-hmm. My son loves Burnout Paradise, which is a good game. It's not bad. He would go nuts for Burnout Revenge. Oh my god, I have to find it. So Burnout Revenge, that is a wonderful, absolutely fantastic recommendation.
And a couple from the chat room, since we're here. Vanyan1 says he likes Fallout 3 modded. Banian says Diablo 2, which is another good one. And Bonzi says Journeyman Project 3 Legacy of Time, which I've never heard of, but I'll take his word on it.
Journeyman Project. I've heard of it, but I can't remember what it's about at all because I'm old. And I'll just blame that. So I just started playing Fallout New Las Vegas because it was pretty cheap on a Steam sale. So I'll have to see how that goes. So
cool. Yeah, let us know.
So
the second part of his is Shakespeare or Lovecraft.
Oh, Lovecraft. Without question, Lovecraft. I mean, Shakespeare is whatever. People are gonna say, "Oh, I like Shakespeare because Shakespeare's all artsy fartsy and he's way ahead of his time." First off, we don't know if he even wrote the crap. Secondly, Lovecraft, Shakespeare never had a sleeping god in a cyclopean tomb that raises from the ocean and ends up kicking everybody's ass on a boat. Boom. There. Got it right there.
Absolutely. So I want to get a couple more in here. We're getting close on time.
Yeah, whatever. We're good.
A couple more here from Dan. Who is Dan from Teutonic Studios.
Yeah, we love that guy, by the way. Tectonic Studios, get over there. Do that thing. It's called online buying. Buy his shit. And Dan, we need to talk about Dice Towers because the Rivet Wars Dice Tower I have, it has some jamming issues, and we'll talk about that. So, but his stuff is totally legit. It is wonderful, great terrain, and I'm not saying that because he sponsors the show because he doesn't yet. So if he wants to, though, see, that's the kind of I could have spokesmodels talk about his stuff. There you go. Anyway, so from Archidan.
His first one is, and he actually did this both weeks. I'll phrase both of them. We can decide which one to hit. Is either what is the drunkest moment of Warmachine Hordes you've ever seen or partaken in, or the drunkest thing you've done in Warmachine?
You know, Archidan, I love you, buddy, but I think I'm probably going to abstain on this particular question because I'm a little worried about the Warmachine and Hordes community in general. I think that we probably need to calm the F down when we're at cons because I think that some of this drinking and stuff has maybe gotten a little bit out of control. To be honest with you, the drunkest I ever got at a con was Warmachine weekend, the first time I ever went there, and I wouldn't have been surprised to see my shoes fly out of my throat. And as a matter of fact, I ended up waking up in the bathroom on the first floor of the hotel, not really sure how the heck I got there. And I think that's bad, and I think that's poor behavior.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's how you wake up in a pool of ice missing a liver or something. And so I can't condone that. I think it's bad form. I think that drinking is awesome, and it's wonderful, and it's nice to have a good time, but don't overdo it. And for sure as hell, don't drive. If you get behind the wheel, then you should probably just stop listening to my show. And I don't want you as a brushhead. But
I was laughing because Bonzi just said the alternative cast for Lock and Load.
Yeah. I was a little drunk during that one, and I would do it again in a second. But so I'd say that's probably it. John, do you have any memories that you wish you remembered?
Honestly, most of my time at cons, I've either been working or too young to legally drink, and guys were smart enough to keep it away from me.
Good.
And
good
honestly,
man.
I'm a responsible drinker. I'm your bro. I'm the guy who's like, oh, look, you're super drunk. Let me make sure you don't lose a liver. That's me.
and
when we're back in the hotel room, we're ready to go to sleep, I'll drink some, and I'll drink my fair share. But I try to be responsible. It's the penalties of being an adult.
No, that's That's not a penalty. That's called being mature, and we are all about maturity here on Painting with MenothJohn. Believe it or not. So are we good on FlippityBloops for this particular episode, John? Because we have a few things to talk about in the media section, or we got one more to go.
Sure, we got some more. Like I said, eventually we're going to have to get a whole other show to clear out some of this backlog.
That'd be amazing. I love those shows.
We'll work on that.
They're totally easy to do. It's one of the things I love about them most. So, okay, so we are. Whoops, here I go dipping into a new paint pot when I should be pouring a little bit of the old Mount Gay. That sounded wrong. And we should do some. We're here at the famous movie club selection. This month we had. When did PM Paying with MenothJohn go mature? Yeah, well, sometimes. We're here at the movie club. Once a month we do this, in case you haven't been a part of this. So this is a little Painting with MenothJohn movie club, and this time we're talking about lucky number Slevin. And hey, Ron.
Ron.
We're going to nip on that throughout the course of the rest of the show.
Home, I'm actually I've upgraded to honey brown lager from my mix. I have beer left over from New Year's.
You can't argue with a little honey brown lager. That's going to do you well.
No.
So lucky
number. It's pretty much my favorite.
Lucky number 7. Let's. You suggested it, and it wore me out. So let's go ahead and John. This is all about spoilers. So if you haven't seen this movie,
spoilers.
Yep. If you want to see this movie, I don't want to tell you to not listen to our show, but you're going to hear spoilers. So if that's a problem for you, deal with it, Pink Boy. So
honestly, pause this, go see it, then come back and listen to the rest.
Okay. So pause it now. And we're back. Okay, so there you go. That sounded like editing, didn't it?
Indeed.
Yeah, well, I don't edit this show. like at all.
So, lucky number Slevin.
Yep.
I'm surprised that it wore you out. Thinking about it, I can see how it would, but I love this movie. Not Brushhead the Jason turned me on to it, and I've loved it since. It's almost like the tale of two movies, shall we say?
It is. I can see
that.
Through
most of it, it's not violent. I mean, it's got some salty language. It's kind of Tarantino-ish overall.
Whoa.
It's not linear structure.
Wait just a red hot second, co-host. It's not violent. There's 6 murders in the first 5 minutes.
Well, I said aside from a couple points, it's not very violent.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll give you that.
It's sort of bookended by some violence. In between is all, you made aside from a couple punches. It's people are verbally sparring through most of this movie.
I'll give you that.
And it's kind of amusing. I thought it had a fairly smart dialogue. The main character, Slevin, is a bit of a smartass, which causes him some grief or a punch in the nose a couple times.
Don't know how he keeps it up, to be honest with you, because I'd be yes, sir, and how high for like most of the movie, and he is the opposite of that.
Well, I like how he explains it as he has a thing, some disease or mental instability that makes him free from worry or care. And then towards the end, you see him worrying about something, and that's the first time you get the realization that he may not be an entirely reliable narrator. Speaking, it works.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, you know, he refers to it as an anorexia, and I had never heard of anorexia outside of anorexia nervosa. Now, the key word being there, nervosa, and I have not looked up the psychological ramifications of anorexia as a generalized disorder.
Gotcha. Yeah, I thought it was at least a good explanation, and the cast for this is really good.
Oh my God, yes.
Because Josh Hartnett plays the lead, and then you've got Bruce Willis and Ben Kingsley, or Sir Ben Kingsley if you prefer, Morgan Freeman, Lucy Liu, and then, you know, a bunch of other people in small roles.
Tucci's in it. Stanley Tucci's in it, and I hear he's...
That's who that is.
That's kind of a thing with the Hungary Games going on.
I didn't recognize... I mean, I recognize him. Like, I know that guy. I can't recognize him. I meant to look it up, but forgot because football. And that's who that is. He was very good in it. I enjoyed him. He was maybe the one I most regretted seeing die.
Yep.
He seemed like a guy who had made some mistakes early on. Well, we said spoilers.
Oh, I know, of course. I'm just saying.
Yeah, he made some mistakes early on, and was maybe trying to get past it. But
Shotgunning a
there you
mom.
go.
Shotgunning a mom gets you a bullet in the head 10 times out of 10.
And it's hard to argue with that, honestly, because it's a bullet. I mean, shotgun the mom. And I think the best way to describe the violence is the way Nick Fisher describes it early in the movie, where he says, "Shit, fuck, Jesus,"
Yeah.
and that's his explanation. And I'm like, "Yep, that about sums it up."
Yep.
And the whole plot is basically, Bruce Willis says it in the early time. The whole plot is a Kansas City shuffle.
Yep.
They look left, you go right, and that's exactly what happens. And it's done sort of unreliable narrator and sort of Ocean's 11-y, where everything happens, then they go back and show you what happened.
So you sold
To
this
explain
movie to me conceptually as Ocean's 11 ish. And I'm
Yeah,
not
a little
gonna
bit.
I'm
Yeah.
not and it's like, okay, I get that. This is not Ocean's 11. This is very violent.
Well, to be fair, I don't have kids, so I'm probably a little more desensitized to violence than you are.
I don't yes, because when his
And I will keep that in mind for future recommendations.
I would appreciate that, because the opening scene where you think you see the son get shot in the head is as a father, and especially as that dad, where you see the father and a completely innocent mom, and the father had good intentions, just picked really the wrong vehicle by which to exercise those options. Ends up terrible things happen to them, and they die, and you think the son dies, but the son doesn't anyway. But still, that's Belinda Librarian will attest to this. This movie put me in a weird, funky mood, mostly because of the fact that children were in danger in this movie, or I thought that children were in danger until the end of the movie.
Then you realize even the most hardened hitman's not going to shoot a kid in the head.
Yep, and
Luckily.
Bruce Willis is quickly becoming probably my favorite actor of all time.
Yeah, he doesn't do a lot in this movie, but what he does is good. He keeps he doesn't seem very Bruce Willis-y. For like one moment I noticed when he was talking to Ben Kingsley, the rabbi, he did a Bruce Willis-y thing. Aside from that, he keeps it very reserved, very calm. He acts like his character should.
Very emotionless. He's during when he's explaining the Kansas City Shuffle, and he executes it, and literally, I think execute's a good word, and he kills the guy. He's just really, as far as I'm concerned, that is Bruce Willis at his best. He's got that little bit of wiliness to him, and it goes throughout the whole thing, and the way that he eventually helps the main character execute his revenge upon these people that murdered his family was amazing.
Yep. And I think the reason I didn't think of all the violence and stuff is because I think of the middle part where it's all verbal banter as the majority of the movie.
Yep. And there's a lot of that.
The rest is sort of like, and I really like it. I thought it was very useful, very interesting, very cool. And honestly, I think it's probably the movie I like Lucy Liu in the most.
Lucy Liu's character as this wacky coroner, this medical examiner, who you expect a medical examiner to be a little bit off the chain because they're cutting up dead people for a living.
Yeah.
She is, I think, at her most likable in this movie compared to any movie I've seen her in. I mean, I just really enjoyed her as a character.
That's probably it. Because, she was very enjoyable, and even though it's fairly quick, I think the romance between her and the lead, Josh Hartnett, is actually slightly believable. They seemed to bond pretty quickly and had some good chemistry.
Completely agree with that. And then when she gets shot, I'm like, no, don't do this to me. I finally have someone in this because Josh Hartnett's character is not terribly likable, and
I found him likable through most of it, but at the end you're like, yeah, he's pure vengeance.
I found his utter disregard for everything. The fact that he could walk into the boss and the rabbi and be, I mean, a Star-Lord level smartass was when he is completely effed. They have him going upside and down. He is done, and he's got nothing but smartass. And I'm like, really? Because if you were a believable character, bricks would be coming out of your pooper right now.
Well, that's why they needed the ataraxia line to try and explain it away. When really the line is, they're doing exactly what he wants. You know, that's why he's not worried. This is what he wants. This is his plan.
Yep, and it's unfolding
it's a
perfectly.
good way for him to sort of explain it away, because Lucy Liu's character is a monkey wrench, so to speak. It's not something they're expecting.
She's absolutely a complication.
Sort of roll with it.
She's absolutely a complication. Yep. She was not planned for, and she is the only part of that entire plan that is not planned for. And
yep, he didn't plan to have to be a real human being in the middle there.
Nope. And yeah, all of a sudden he fell in love. And
yep.
So I think that the outcome of it is that even though Bruce Willis is just the best of the best contract killer.
No, L. Marshall said it right. He's a world-class assassin, fuckhead. How do you think he found out?
Exactly.
That's what he says at the end.
Yep, and I thank you. That's awesome, Al Marshall. You've actually seen the movie.
Yeah.
I don't think that he killed Lucy Liu ever. I don't think he went after it. I think he had too much love for the boy that he wouldn't take this woman that he happened upon, just happened to be lucky enough to find, that he would not take that happiness away from him after all the things. I mean, essentially, he'd been his father figure throughout all of his growing up.
Yep, for 20 years, they say.
Yep. So I don't think...
I mean, hell, he goes out of his way to help him perpetrate vengeance on these guys who used to pay him probably quite a bit of money.
Yep.
Stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that I think he left him alone, and they took whatever money they were able to probably find on the site with the boss and all that kind of stuff, or whatever money that they had, and executed a great getaway and had a happily ever after moment.
Well, it's a good movie because it tells you this is the story. You know, gives you the backstory that's necessary, none of the backstory that's not necessary, and tells A to B, and then you're done. What happens afterwards? We're not worried about that with this story.
Nope. So how did this movie do in the box office? Do you have any idea, John?
I do not know, but I could probably find out.
Yeah, take a look here while we're vamping a little bit, because I had never heard of this movie before the movie club.
I hadn't either. Like I said, not Brushhead, the Jason turned me on to it, and
so I'm watching this movie.
He loaned it to me, and I loved it.
So I'm watching this movie, and I'm texting Belinda, librarian, and I'm going, the payoff of this movie had better be completely amazing, because right now I am just hating the fact that I'm watching this. And
I'm sorry.
It took every last bit of me to get past the part where the mom and the dad get dead, and the kid looks like he's got a gun up to his head. And I'm like,
that's pretty
really?
Too. Yeah.
Really? And it was so hard for me to get through that part that watching the rest of the movie became very, very difficult for me. And Belinda will attest to this. She came over after a while, and I was like I was in a mood because of what this movie had done to me. Now, on one level, that's a testament to how good this movie probably actually is the fact that it affected me on the level that it affected me. On the other half, I would like to do something lighter next time.
Fair,
if at all possible.
Like I said, I'm desensitized to violence to a degree, so I didn't think of that, and I apologize.
Oh, no, but you don't have to apologize, man. It's all good. This is a collaborative effort, these movie clubs. So, and, my sensibilities may not necessarily represent the sensibilities of everybody else out there. So, I'm going to give it, as a father, 2.5 shots of Kraken. And I'm going to give it 2.5 shots of Kraken just simply to numb myself a little bit and get myself into the mindset that I need to be in to say, I am watching a movie with some of my all-time favorite actors in it. Stanley Tucci, we got Morgan Freeman, we got Ben Kingsley, we got Bruce Willis. These Lucy Liu, showing herself to be an actress I can actually enjoy watching, and I think I have to put myself in that state of mind to think that way, and I think if I did that with 2.5 shots of Kraken, I'd be in a good place. So there you go. That's my review of it. John, where are you at on this movie? I bet you're probably less shots of Kraken.
Oh, absolutely. Looking at it, it actually looks like it's got kind of mediocre reviews, and it looks like people sort of dinged it for trying too hard to be Pulp Fiction.
Oh, I disagree.
Yeah, well, that's what critics say, but it did do fairly well. It did about twice its budget, so
seems like a good investment. Seems like a good investment. Yeah.
And I give it 1 shot of Kraken. You probably want 1 shot because, again, that first part I noticed my rewatching today is a bit much, and the end is a bit violent. But I really love the verbal banter and wordplay in it.
The character of the boss, played by Morgan Freeman, is insanely articulate, and I really, really, really like his character. I love the part of the character of the rabbi, played by Ben Kingsley. I thought that the interplay, especially at the end, between Kingsley and Morgan Freeman, and the way that they accepted their deaths, or didn't accept their deaths, was really neat and interesting. So, like I said, this was very difficult show for me to watch, and I'm not looking forward to ever watching it again. But I think that there may be others who would certainly appreciate it, and I guess, get out there if you. It is not Ocean's 11. Do not go into it thinking it's Ocean's 11. It is very gritty. It is very dark. It is a story of unbridled revenge. So I would say go ahead, and if that's your kind of cup of tea, then get right on it. But otherwise, there you go. So that's our movie club selection for this month. Lucky number Slevin, available on Amazon Prime. John, if I could just take a second, I'd like to talk a little bit about what I'm doing here on the painting cam right now. This is J-Lo. If you remember, she was our spokesmodel tonight. And this is a model I actually purchased from Chris Miller way back in the day. And it is he's the reason I actually have any dwarfs at all is because of Chris. And he got a little chipped up a little bit. So what I did was, and this might be something to think about if you've got any chipped models back at home, if you don't feel like this is a very difficult color scheme for me to match because I don't have the recipe for it, what I'm doing with it is I'm using the Typhus Corrosion, which is the Citadel Technical color, the Typhus Corrosion, which gives it a nice rusted look, and then not a corroded look, and then I'm using the Ryza Rust from Citadel, which I'm putting on there as a dry brush, and that's strictly a dry brush color. And rather than patch it in its normal color, this model's been with me for a long time, John. It's earned its rust. It's earned its rust tonight. So we're going to give it a little bit of rust action. So I put a little rust on his pipe up here where he was damaged, a little chipped up. He was a little chipped up on his claw here, so I got that all looking good. So he's going to have a little battle damage. So that might be one way for you to think about it. So shout out to Crashabash, by the way, and your wife, who just happened on cam there, which was super awesome. And we love her, and we love your bird. And so Brushheads, think about that as a possible opportunity for you. If you have a chipped up model, think about a little battle damage, especially if you've got a Warjack. So there you go. I'm a huge fan of the Typhus Corrosion and the Ryza Rust, by the way.
Oh, I haven't tried them out yet, but I'm sure I will eventually.
Absolutely. I would like to mention very quickly here a board game that I was playing. I'm going to switch over. I'm done painting for the rest of the night. I'm going to go up on the face cam here. Boom. There we are. I'd like to mention a board game, John, that I've been playing. I've had for probably 5 or 6 years. And, hey, shout out to Greenleaf Terrain, who is now in the chat room. Oh, my God, John, we had a blowout. The blue glove has given up the ship. I tried to take it off, and it exploded. So I'd like to offer a moment of silence for this particular blue glove, which, if you look very carefully, is kind of shiny because it's sweaty. So that is the sweat of MenothJohn. That is something you might want to notice there. And so we're going to, a little moment of silence for that blue glove. Okay, that will be compressed on a 2-to-1 basis when we turn this into an audio podcast. So if that didn't seem like much of a moment of silence, it's because I believe in editing for you people. Secondly, I want to mention Winter Circle, which is a game by a little-known board game designer, Reiner Knizia. Have you ever heard of Reiner Knizia, John?
I have.
Okay, I'm gonna get.
I have indeed.
I'm going to actually here. This is how much I care about you guys. I'm actually going to put it on the camera. This is it. It is a game by Reiner Knizia, and as you can see, it's a horse racing game, or a game about horses, one of the two. There it is. It is a wonderful game. It is out of print. I've had it for 5 or 6 years. It's kind of expensive if you want to get it on board, if you want to look for it anywhere. But there are new versions of it. There's a game called Tortoise and the Hare, which was just recently featured on the on Will Wheaton's show, the tabletop. And
Yep.
it is a game where, fuck, there we go. And that just got our explicit. Anyway, so trying to move my chair. So what it is, you place bets, and in this game you roll dice, and each of the different horses has a card, and the card has a number for each of the different symbols. So let's say a horse moves 7 spaces when you roll a horse head, or a horseshoe might move it 5 spaces. And there are 3 horse heads, one jockey cap, 1 saddle, and one horseshoe on each side of the 6-sided die. And it's really, really fun. You place your bets as to which horse you think is going to come in first, and then or you put bets on 3 horses. You have a 2-bet, which is double bet. So that's obviously the one you think is going to win. And then you've got a 1-bet for maybe some horses you think are more of a long shot. And you go ahead and you actually take turns rolling the die to make the horses move. And it's really, really fun. Tortoise and the Hare has a very, very similar. Yeah, it says on the secondary market it's $75 to $95, which I don't expect any of you to go out and spend. But the current version of it that has the almost exact same mechanics is Tortoise and the Hare. I watched the tabletop. Looks like a great game. I had not played it in 6 years because I thought, well, Winter Circle, it sounds kind of hokey. I'm not sure why I bought it in the first place. But it's totally legit, and my kids love it. I love it. Belinda loves it. So I would really highly recommend it. If you want to look at Tortoise and the Hare, get out there and buy it. So I'm going to give it a 1 shot of Kraken because it's pretty good. And it's always fun to have a shot of Kraken when you're playing a board game. So, John, you saw a movie that is near and dear to my heart, and that's the Lego Movie.
Yep, New Year's Eve, we got together. We were sitting there drinking, eating some chips that were pretty good, and then wandered over to the TV, and I turned on the TV, and Lego Movie was about halfway through.
Nice.
But, luckily, it's got HBO Go, so we started again from the beginning because not Brushhead Dan and not Brushhead the Jason both hadn't seen it yet, so we watched that all the way through.
That movie's so
it's
good.
just as good the second time through.
That movie's so good. So
Yes, it is.
Nicely done. I think probably the highlight of that movie might be when Batman sings his song at the end.
Darkness.
Darkness.
No parents. It's pretty funny. It's still good. It's still 0 shots of Kraken.
Absolutely.
It's so good, even not the Brushhead Dave, who has very weird movie taste, enjoyed it aside from the live action sequences, which I think are actually the part that really push it over the top.
I completely agree. When the live action sequences come on, it's such a revelation. It's kind of that Wizard of Oz moment when when Dorothy goes back to Kansas. Oh my God, it's very, very, very reminiscent of that. So we only have a couple more minutes left, John, and I just wanted to quickly mention a movie that Belinda Librarian and I saw on New Year's Eve. We had an amazing New Year's Eve together. We went out to a tapas place a tapas place in Racine, Wisconsin, which ought to just blow your damn mind right off the top. But we have a legit tapas place, and we went to go see Mockingjay Part 1. And I'm going to tell you what.
Oh, cool.
I am so not a fan of this trend that Hollywood has right now of taking things and expanding them into a million versions of this, that, and the other thing. But I'll tell you what, they are nailing the Hunger Games series so hard. Hunger Games, the first movie was really pretty good. I think arguably the second one was better, and the third one is frickin' amazing, and the fourth one is going to be everything that the Battle of Five Armies is trying to be to fix the Hobbit, and it's going to be amazing. It's just going to be a run and gun. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. So I totally, I really, really, really enjoyed Mockingjay Part 1. I had great company, of course, but it was a fantastic movie. Brushheads, if you haven't seen it, go see it. When it comes out on DVD, just own it. It's fantastic.
All right, well, I got one more thing I want to throw out real quick.
Sure.
Something I'm watching on YouTube. It's actually a live video of Night Ranger, the old band from the '80s, who are still together.
No shit.
And it's called 24 Strings and a Drummer. It's from a couple years ago, a year or two ago, and it's really good. It's them playing basically acoustically a lot of their big hits, about an hour and a half long, and it's very enjoyable.
I bet you Sister Christian with some acoustics would probably actually be almost semi-enjoyable.
I found all the songs enjoyable for the most part, and they do a little bit where they get their newish guitarist Joel Hoekstra, who's sort of one of those guitarists for hire, and he does this funny bit around the time they do Sister Christian that's just hilarious. Hilarious.
Nice. So what was the name of that again, John?
24 Strings and a Drummer.
24 Strings and a Drummer. Super sweet. Well, ladies and gentlemen, with that, we are going to bring a close to your Sunday night addiction. Turns out Belinda and my son Jake and I are going to watch some Futurama because I just introduced that to my child.
Fair enough.
Suicide booths. Teach it to your 11-year-old. And we're going to do that. And I'm going to say thank you, John, for another fantastic episode. And I want to thank you, all you brushheads out there who are number one in my book. And it's going to be a great year here in 2015. And we are going to keep this ball rolling all the way straight through. Don't forget the paint 1 point a day thingy. And, post them on the old Painting with MenothJohn website, the Facebook site there. And I look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks because we are going to be taking next week off because I'm going to be in friggin' Amsterdam. And hopefully I'll run into Neek at some point. So on behalf of John Spencer, I'm MenothJohn. We're going to see you next time on Painting with MenothJohn. Good night, everybody.